Hello everyone, and welcome to this tutorial video. My name is Pelly from the MakeCode team. I'm going to show you how to create and publish tutorials for MakeCode for Minecraft. I am here in GitHub and I just created an empty repository. And this is to showcase an example where you have to create a repository inside of an organization, for example. So let's assume you have a new repo. It could be an existing one too as well. So what you're going to do is copy the address and then go to minecraft.makecode.com/beta !, very important, GitHub equals 1. This enables a special mode to author tutorials. So I'm going to open that and I'm going to click on import URL. I'm going to copy the URL of my repository and click go ahead. Now, because this is the first time I'm doing that, I'm probably not signed in inside of GitHub for Minecraft. There's two ways to do this. You can either click sign in which case it's going to use our GitHub app called MakeCode for GitHub. This will work fine for repositories under your account, but you will have to authorize that app if you plan to use it for a organization repository. If you're not allowed to or not able to authorize this app for your organization, you can use a developer token as well, which I'm going to do here. So I'm going to click developer token, go to the token generation, MakeCode for Minecraft, and so I'm going to give it a name. I need repo access, and I need workflow access. And let's see, generate token, copy the token. You really want to treat this token as password, and then put it in. The first time we load the repository, in this case, we're going to populate it with files. You can also create a repo by converting any existing MakeCode project. So it's currently adding a bunch of files. And you'll see that in this case, the rendering of the editor is a bit different because we have this file here. So I'm going to first do a cleanup of the project. I don't need blocks. And I don't need test. I'm going to remove those. I'm not going to use builder, so I'm going to remove it too. And I've got a few changes. I'm going to talk about the GitHub integration. So you see that there's a little arrow here, and also there's a button here next to the title that tells me that there's actually something to upload to GitHub. And in the GitHub view, you have a diff of the changes that are local right now. You can see that we've made a few changes. And here there's a commit button. So I'm going to say cleanup. And committing will create a commit and push the changes to GitHub, at which point they are nice and saved and shared with the rest of the team. And in fact, if you go back to the repository, there's an icon here that takes you back there. You'll see that cleanup is there and everything's saved. So we're in happy land. Our work is not going to be lost. Okay, so we have a README here, and I'm going to keep it as is because it's useful. What I'm going to do is create a new file called tutorial.md. You can have as many tutorials as you want in a single repository. They're all going to be separate markdown file. And you can author the markdown directly in MakeCode, just as usual. And you can also do the block thing, I'll do this. Now, how do you preview this? There's two ways. First of all, you can preview this using the documentation page. It takes around 5 to 7 seconds before we re-render the markdown after you've done the last keystroke. And then you can see whether you actually got the code correct. Like if this doesn't render, probably didn't, maybe you have a typo or something. So that renders it as a documentation page. Now, in order to test it as a tutorial, what you want to do is click on this preview button here, and this will open a new tab, load that particular tutorial in the editor, and let you go through the steps and make sure that, this looks okay, and this looks okay. We've got our tooltip. Looks like the tutorial is ready. I can close my tab. Now I've done a change. I'm going to go ahead and push that to GitHub. You see there's a new file here, and we've added all new content. I can add a message or cannot if you want to be it's definitely useful to add messages, so highly recommend it. So we've got our tutorial that's live in GitHub now. That means we can actually load it in the editor. So now I'm gonna do HTTPS Minecraft MakeCode. I don't have to be in beta. And then the route for tutorial is tutorial slash, and then this would be awesome. So tutorial slash, I need to remember, tutorial. So hash mark tutorial, organization, tutorial name, file name. And if the demo gods are with me, we should be in happy land with our tutorial being loaded in the editor. And this works. We've got the tooltip. Everybody's happy. This report abuse will go away if you put the repository as a trusted repository in the PX target. So that's how you get over that. Also, you might face caching issues because the cloud is going to cache the repository, and it might take some time before the cache is fixed. So that's why you want to use the local preview to test your changes. Okay, now this covers publishing one or more tutorials in the repo. Now let's talk about localizing them. If you want your tutorial to be used by internationally, what you can have is multiple copies of this file for each locale. Now the way you're going to do that is first select your language. So I'm going to go in French here. So I'm going to want to author tutorials that are in French. And what you can see here is that there's a new button that lets you create a localized file of tutorial MD. So as you can see, it adds a button here. It has a new file, and this is the French version of tutorial MD. When MakeCode loads the tutorial and then the user uses French, it will use this file instead. So now I can say titre, and then we'll say étape 2, c'est la vie, and then étape 2, nanana, coup-ci, coup-ça. There we go, and I don't have to change that. So I've got a French version. How do I test it? The same way as before. I'm going to click this because I'm in French. MakeCode will pick up the French version, and now you can see that, you know, c'est la vie and coup-ci, coup-ça. So all good and all happy. We've got a French version of our tutorial. Once you make change, don't forget, go into GitHub view, review your changes, make sure they look good, and hit record. And that's it for this video. We've covered how to take a repo and use it to store tutorials and also publish them and localize them. Thank you.